Steve Murphy, congratulations, member of the New Hampshire Legends Hall of Fame, and congratulations. How do you feel about it?
Very honored, and it's been a long time since I've played, so it brings back a lot of memories. So it's really neat. It's a great organization, and I'm proud to be in it.
Well, a native of Malden, Massachusetts.
Yes, grew up in Malden. I came up to New Hampshire when I was in my late 20s, actually, mid to late 20s, and I've been here ever since.
So in Malden, I imagine you grew up a Bruins fan.
Absolutely. At that time, I think the first Bruins game I ever saw, my father took me. I was 14 to watch the Detroit Red Wings, Howe and Lindsay and Glenn Hall and Del Vecchio and those guys, and that sort of got me hooked.
It would, because that was great hockey in those days in the six-team National Hockey League. Who are some of your greatest playing influences? Who inspired you to play the game in the first place?
Well, as I mentioned, Ted Lindsay, I really like, and I wore number 7 because Ted Lindsay did. I think that's why I chose that number. And that game, he really impressed me. And growing up, there were guys in my neighborhood that played at BU. And those guys, and we played street hockey and hockey on the ponds, as a group, quite a bit.
Absolutely. Might have even played at Elk Pond in Melrose. Who knows?
I did.
Yeah.
Indeed, I did. I did. I played in the Reservoir in Malden first, and then we were at Elk Pond and Swains Pond at the other end of Malden. So it was the ponds. I didn't go into a rink to skate until I was a freshman in high school.
Really? Yeah, all on the pond.
Right,
yeah.
All on the pond.
Well, that's the way it used to be, pretty much. And so from Malden, you wound up in Nova Scotia.
Right. I went to prep school in Cambridge, New Prep, and there was somebody from Nova Scotia there, and we had to apply to 10 schools, and I was searching for 10, and he put St. Francis Xavier, and that's where I ended up, and I loved it. It's a great university. They beat UNH a couple of weeks ago, so.
You take great pride in that.
I take great pride. I was down there. It was a good game. They beat them 2-0, but it was fun seeing them play again.
You had quite a career there.
I did. I was the first American to play there, and that was kind of neat because they really didn't think the Americans could skate, because there weren't any Americans in the NHL at that time. So in most cases, they were correct. So,
and then on to play with any number of teams in New Hampshire over the years.
Right. In fact, that's how I first came up to New Hampshire. I came up with the Shamrocks, and then I played with the Shamrocks, the Coachmen, the Concord Eastern Olympics, the Budmen. Played one year for the Manchester Monarchs, the last year that the league was in existence. And then there were thousands of teams other than that I've played for, it seems like, anyway. So.
And you played into your 50s, I understand.
I did. I played in the Capital City Hockey League, which was a checking league into my 50s. And they're still going. In fact, Stevie Yant is in his 60s and he's still playing. So I enjoyed it. And I work a few days every once in a while down the rink. And I see a lot of the guys I played with and coached. And so it's kind of neat.
Well, it is. You've been around hockey for a long, long time. And we congratulate you, and certainly well-deserved.
Thank you very much.
Bill Dennehy, now a New Hampshire legend of hockey. Congratulations to you.
Thank you very much. It's really, it's an awfully big honor, and I'm really proud that I could join this group.
Well, a native of Hartford, Connecticut, how did you wind up in New Hampshire?
Well, I went to Springfield College and met my lovely wife, and as things developed, I took a job early in my young career at Phillips Exeter, and I've been there for 43 years. So it's been a nice. I consider myself a resident of New Hampshire now.
I know how that feels. I'm from Massachusetts myself, so and been here and feel like I'm a native. But tell us about your years at Phillips Exeter and the number of the great program you've developed there, and some of the players that have played for you there.
Well, I don't know if I developed the great program. It's certainly I was lucky enough to join a department, a physical education department that had George Crow as a member, and he was the hockey coach and kind of took me under his wing and not only mentored me, but taught me how to teach and coach, and I really owe a great deal of gratitude towards him, because without his leadership, I don't know if I could have taken over when he went on to Dartmouth. I've had the good fortune of dealing with so many great kids at Exeter, many from New Hampshire, Mo Villeneuve, Greg Boucher, and Colin Sheen, and Russ Bartlett, and my own son Patrick, Ali Skelly, many, many kids. And, when all is said and done, that's what I feel best about and proudest of, is having those associations with so many of those great kids.
Well, absolutely. And from what I've heard, you, as a coach, always had an open door policy.
Always. Of course, at Exeter, you live in a dormitory, so you have 24/7 contact with the kids. So that doesn't come down to just me. That means that the family has to be involved. And my wife, Cindy, was so wonderful in that, and allowing not only for me to have the open door, but she often did too, because she ended up being their barber, their confessor, and mom away from home. So it's been a nice partnership.
And certainly aiding in the development, you and your wife both, of these great student athletes over the years.
Well, I hope so. They're awful bright kids for the most part, and they're very driven. When they come to Exeter, they have goals in mind, and certainly sport or hockey is a main driving force. But they also look to the academic end, and they're looking to go on to schools that they feel that will challenge them, and they do such a wonderful job. And the kids end up, they're all over doing great things, and it's kind of mystifying as a coach when you're used to seeing them when they're 16 or 17, and now they're lawyers or doctors or whatever. But they're so successful, and I think it's because of their drive and their push to do better things.
But it must be gratifying for you to see them excel at the next level, as it were.
Oh, it certainly is. Jeez, it really is.
Well, Bill, I know you've helped guide and influence the lives of many young people over the years, and congratulations to you for entering now the New Hampshire Legends, and it's richly deserved.
Well, thanks so much, Ken. It's as I said before, it's a great honor and one I'll remember always.
Mark Evans, native of Freedom, New Hampshire, a walk-on at UNH, from a walk-on to a starting goaltender. It's quite an achievement at that level of hockey.
Thank you very much. It was a lot of hard work, and I got a lot of good breaks. There's no doubt about it. My freshman year, Charlie Holt took a nice look at me. He had known me from Berwick Academy from those days, because his son was playing there as well. So I caught some good breaks along the way, but I was very fortunate.
And tell us about those days at UNH under the legendary Charlie Holt.
Master of the X's and O's. No doubt about it. And this is part of my speech, but once Charlie told me, you got to listen, there's 5 hockey players out there and a goalie. And I had to sit back and take a thought about that for a minute. Not quite what he meant by that, but he put me in my place.
Were you always a goalie, or did you try the other positions first and then wind up in the goal? How did that evolve?
Started out as a forward, but my father and brother were goalies. And the evolution, missing a player here and there, and the mites or peewees, they'd throw me in the net.
But it ran in the family.
It ran in the family.
There you go. And then you went on to play professionally. I know you played a little bit for the New Hampshire Freedoms, and I know at the time they made, from Freedom, New Hampshire, now a member of the New Hampshire Freedoms, but I know that didn't last a whole long time.
We started in Manchester playing at I think it was at the Kennedy rink.
Yeah.
John Cuniff was our coach. Sandy Reese was our owner. We lasted maybe a month, maybe 2 months, and had to move to Cape Cod. Not sure why. But they lasted the year down at Cape Cod in the East Coast Hockey League. It was a tough go for minor league hockey, for sure, those days.
Yeah. And so what are you up to now? What have you done in your days since hockey?
Lucky enough to be working with Dana Barbin and Billy Dennehy at Phillips Exeter Academy. Last 15 years, it's been great helping out with the goaltenders. Just being a small part of that program has been a lot of fun.
I'm sure it has been a very successful program, and I'm sure you've guided the fortunes of several outstanding goaltenders there through the years.
I've been lucky to have a few good ones. The first year there, 15 years ago, we won it all. And I'm not going to say it's been downhill since then, but it's been a struggle.
But nonetheless, having the opportunity, as we talked with Bill, to interact with some of these young student athletes has to be gratifying.
Phillips Exeter Academy athletes are very, very coachable. Obviously, they're highly intelligent, and that makes my job, and I think Bill's and Dana's, much easier.
Absolutely. Well, Mark Evans, Freedom, New Hampshire, congratulations, and now a New Hampshire legend of hockey, and great to have you with us today.
Thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Steve Sheriffs, we today honor the Hanover Marauder hockey program, which has been such a great one and historic one over the years, and you were certainly a major part of that program.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly an honor for me to be recognized at an event like this today, and especially to coincide with Hanover being recognized as for a team event, for a team award, after, decades of success as a program. And, Dick Dodd's doing a fantastic job with the team over the past 30 plus years and numerous state titles. So it's very, very exciting for me, both personally, but then also to be a part of the, Hanover High hockey program as well. That's also getting recognized.
Certainly a program rich in tradition, no question about it. And as we said, you were a major part of that. And after that, on to Princeton for a great career there under Tut Cahoon.
Yeah, I mean, my freshman year we came in and we had a young team. We had, I think, 10 freshmen on the team that year, and we struggled. But one thing that I really loved about being at Princeton was seeing improvement each year. So my sophomore year, we were able to knock out UVM when they had Martin St. Louis and Eric Perrin in the ECAC tournament. And then my junior year, we ended up going on to to win the ECAC season, make our first ever NCAA tournament. So to see the team make progression year after year was something that we took a lot of pride in. Was something that was a huge part of my enjoyment at Princeton.
Well, absolutely, and then on to professional hockey.
Yeah, so I played 2 seasons here in North America in the Washington Capitals farm system, and then I played 3 seasons over in Finland, and had a great experience over there as well.
Who did you have an opportunity to play with here in this country?
In terms of in the minor leagues, I played with, most of the people who came through the Washington Capitals farm system, had the opportunity to play with them. Obviously, Jeff Halpern, who I played with at Princeton, was my roommate for 4 years. He's gone on to have an outstanding NHL career of, 15 years. Went to Washington Capitals training camp my first year out of Princeton, so played against, Adam Oates, Peter Bondra, Olaf Kolig. So, got to play against some great players.
What have you been doing since your professional career has ended?
So now I work in finance down in New York City, so not exactly the typical path for a former hockey player, but it's been great. Both my brothers are down in New York City, and a lot of friends from Princeton and even from Hanover are down there as well. So been down there for 10 years, and I'm pretty settled down there right now. But still love playing hockey, and I get out there about once a week still. So it's something that I really enjoy, doing to this day.
Do you still stay in touch with the folks in Hanover?
Definitely. I mean, the group that I played with since I was mites are some of my best friends. They're all at my wedding, 3 or 4 years ago. So the group is very close knit. The guys that I've been skating with since I was 3 and 4 years old. So it's pretty neat to have a group as close as we do.
Well, congratulations to you, Steve, and certainly richly deserved. Now a New Hampshire legend of hockey.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
New Hampshire legend of hockey, the nifty one, Rick Middleton. Congratulations to you.
Thank you, Ken. You're responsible for it. You know that because we started in broadcasting so many years ago. Well, I started in broadcasting so many years ago when I got to New Hampshire.
Yeah, Rick was the first color analyst, along with Pat Burns, who's going into the Hockey Hall of Fame in Toronto posthumously, unfortunately. But Rick and Pat were my first color guys for Manchester Monarchs hockey 14 years ago. Can you believe it?
I know, and I learned a lot from you because that spurred me to go on into the Nesson booth for 5 years, and I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, had a great career in the National Hockey League. We were just talking with Bruce Crowder. You guys had an opportunity to play together, and what a long and storied career you had with, well, first of all, the New York Rangers, and then you wound up with the Boston Bruins.
Yes, 2 original 6 teams, and I'm from Toronto, so another original 6 city. So growing up, watching the Bruins, the Rangers, the Leafs play every night that I could, and then listening to it on radio. That's how I grew up. In those days, the away games were on radio, so I love hockey on radio. And just so fortunate to be drafted, playing in New York for the Rangers, a great team, great organization, and then ultimately happens in most players' careers. They go to another team, and luckily it was Boston they traded me to, and at a time when they were Stanley Cup finalists, and we had a lot of good teams over the years, and I wouldn't trade anything for all those years. They're making the good money now, but I had a lot of fun.
Were you surprised at all when the Rangers traded you after a couple of seasons?
Well, you know, the year that it happened, they had just made the trade with Esposito and Vadnais coming there for Park and Rattel. They had got rid of Emile Francis, the coach and general manager. They had traded Derek Sanderson. They had traded Eddie Jockman. They were cleaning house. And I got in a little trouble, I think. I was enjoying the nightlife a little too much. They tell me I was having too much fun. Maybe like a Tyler Seguin type of deal, and they didn't have the patience to wait for me. And Phil wanted one of his old wingers, I'm told. It's in his book. Not that he wanted to get rid of me, I hope, and they decided in Boston that they had soured on Kenny somewhat, and they decided to make the trade, even though Kenny was 10 years older than me. So best thing that happened to me.
And the rest, as they say, is history.
Well, Don Cherry was the coach at the time, and Don, I always credited him for really teaching me the NHL game of hockey. And after he was gone, I was kind of Jerry Cheever's go-to guy, and so he made me into an NHL player.
Well, it must have been unbelievable to play for Don Cherry. You never knew what jacket or suit he was going to wear.
It was different. He didn't dress like he does today, but it was close.
No.
It was close, yeah.
But you could probably write a book just about those experiences.
Yes, him and I didn't get off on the right foot together, but we're good friends today.
Well, I'm sure, and I know how you guys would be like kindred spirits. I'm sure.
Yep.
Now, when we were working together, the first year of the Manchester Monarchs, you had an opportunity to go into coaching, but it wasn't coaching traditional hockey as we know it. Tell us about that.
Well, I got a call one day from a friend of mine who was on the U.S. Paralympic ski team, national team, and he was a part-time sled hockey player also, and he had heard that the U.S. national sled hockey team was looking for a coach. Apparently their coach had quit in the middle of the World Championships in 2000. The Paralympics were going to be in Salt Lake City in 2002. They were the host team, so they better have a coach, and luckily, he thought of me, and I said, yeah, I'd be interested. Even though I didn't know a lot about sled hockey at the time, I said I'd be interested, and one thing led to the other, and that's how I ended up behind the bench.
And a very successful tenure. You went on to win a gold medal.
Yes, it was totally unexpected by everyone because we were the 6th seed out of 6 teams. We only were there because we were the host team. They'd only ever won one game in their history. But I knew that we had really, really top world-class players on the team. The trouble was we never played anybody. I had no idea how we were going to match up. I'd only seen films. And we went in there, and probably served us well because nobody knew what to expect from us. And we went in there and we won all 5 of our round-robin games. We outscored the opposition 22-3. And we ended up playing Norway in the gold medal game, which went to a shootout. The most exciting hockey game I was ever in.
And we're talking about the Paralympics and working with those challenged, but they play the game of hockey with, I'm sure, the same intensity as NHLers.
Well, sometimes with more. Yeah. Trust me, I've never met more dedicated hockey players, able-bodied or disabled, in my life. And a lot of them have been playing for 12 years and never even got a sniff, never got close. And all of a sudden, they were in the gold medal game. And I don't think they even expected to be there. And I certainly didn't. And so that's why it was really a miracle on ice. That's what we call it, the second miracle on ice. But it was one of the greatest experiences of my life. I'm
sure it was. And you did an outstanding job. And what are you up to these days?
Well, these days, as you know, I worked for C.B. Sullivan Company for many years, and C.B. sold the company in 2010 to L'Oreal, the French company. And now it's time to reinvent myself again. So a friend of mine and I decided to start a commercial solar company in Massachusetts, since Mass is one of the best states in the union for solar and LED lighting. We're taking on. So it's a new company, about a year and a half old, and just getting it off the ground, but it looks promising.
Well, nifty, outstanding, and I think you got that nickname from Bob Wilson, didn't you?
Well, a lot of people take credit. Jerry Cheever said he gave it to me, but maybe it was the good old radio announcer, Bob Wilson, so I'll give Bob the credit.
My idol.
My idol, too.
Rick, thanks a lot, and congratulations.
Thank you, Ken. Good to see you.
Bruce Parker, New Hampshire legend of hockey, grew up in Massachusetts, as I understand it, in the Wakefield, Reading area, good hockey area there. How did you wind up in New Hampshire?
Graduated from Bowdoin College in 1963. My father was a wholesale jewelry salesman, and he opened a jewelry store in Lancaster, New Hampshire, a little town of 3,500 people way up north. And I was over there visiting with my folks, waiting to be inducted into the Army. And I saw in the newspaper that some guy who had been hired to coach at Berlin High had left in the middle of the night, and Dick Bradley was going to resume coaching there, and I made a phone call, wrote a little letter, and said if you need any help as an assistant coach, I'd be happy to help out. And that's where it began.
So that's where it all began, and you went on to become a legendary coach in Berlin.
So they say. You don't get to be a legendary coach unless you have legendary players and legendary assistants. So I think that most of that honor is due to those guys.
But you were responsible, behind the bench anyway, for the first state title for Berlin.
I wasn't responsible. Dick Bradley was the guy in charge, but I was the Dick concentrated on the goaltenders, and I concentrated on the forwards like Pierre Belanger and the defensemen, and I kind of organized the skaters, and Dick had the goaltenders.
So you had Pierre for 1 year, right?
Had Pierrot for 1 year, and then I had Marcel and Michel, his brothers, over the next succeeding years, and coached a whole bunch of really good hockey players up there.
Plenty of Belangers, huh?
3 of them. 3 Belangers.
And from Berlin High, where did your career take you?
I followed Dick Bradley to Acton, Boxborough in Massachusetts, and was able to coach his 2 sons and tutor his 2 daughters in mathematics, and became close to that family, and we had great success there as well.
Yeah, absolutely so. What are you up to these days?
I'm finally retired from teaching advanced placement calculus and being a director of athletics, and not only a hockey coach, but a baseball coach, a football coach, a girls softball coach, etc. And undergoing multiple surgeries to correct little dings and so forth, and trying to get to a point where I can enjoy the rest of my life.
So you're staying busy anyway.
I'm staying busy with those surgeries. I got the left total knee replacement scheduled for November 21st.
Well, Bruce, we want to congratulate you, now a member of the New Hampshire Legends of Hockey, and richly deserved.
I appreciate that, and thank you so much.
Today we're honoring the great Hanover Marauder High School hockey program, a legendary program in the state of New Hampshire. Jack Turco, one of its former coaches, with us, and Jack, welcome to the banquet, and congratulations! A great honor for this high school program.
Oh, it certainly is. You know, I'm a Flatlander by birth. I was from Melrose, Massachusetts, and grew up in a community that really took its tradition of hockey seriously. So when I came up to Hanover in '74 and got involved, more and more, I get more and more impressed by the passion that the Hanover people had. So we're very proud of our program, and it's a wonderful honor to get this award.
Melrose used to be called Hockey Town, USA. It's my hometown, too.
Is it really?
It is.
Well, it still is Hockey Town, USA. And I still remember skating on the overflow, first pond, second pond, spot pond.
Yeah, absolutely. And L Pond and Hockey Town, USA, and all those great ice surfaces in that particular area. So what brought you to New Hampshire in the first place?
Well, I did my medical internship up at Dartmouth. And so my wife and I, she's from Melrose also, came up, and it turned out to be a great place to professionally, but also more importantly, bringing up kids. Yeah. And it was also very good with our hockey background that the ponds froze early up in Hanover. So Ockham Pond was a great place to take your kids when they were just growing up. So it was a nice mix for us, and to the point where we've stayed there ever since.
Well, it's a beautiful place to be in the Upper Valley, no question about that. Tell us about your experiences there. How long did you coach the Hanover team?
Well, when I started, I coached youth hockey for a couple of years, and then I coached the team for 4 years. And the last 2 years, the smartest thing I did was to have Dick Dodds as my assistant coach. And then my kids started to play youth hockey, so I kind of stepped back from and did youth hockey for 10, 15 years, where I was lucky enough to have Steve Sheriffs at his first mite practice. And then, talking about what goes around comes around, the oldest son's senior year, when Steve was a senior, I was Dickie's assistant coach for Hanover. So I did that, and then I coached a few more years. So I've been involved with hockey. I've been in a lot of hockey rinks over the years.
Yeah, it's been an amazing program up there, and Dick Dodds has been there over 30 years now. Did you think he'd be there over 30 years when he first took over?
Oh, gosh. Dick he's a wonderful guy to be there for 30 years. There have been some other programs I've known of where people wish the people that were there for 30 years weren't there anymore. That's not true for Dick. I mean, Dick is such a details guy that he thinks of the kids, but he also thinks a lot about the program and the legacy of the program, and does a wonderful job, as does John.
Well, no question. And you talked about Steve Sheriffs. You've known him for a long time. He's going to be inducted today into the New Hampshire Legends Hockey Hall of Fame, and that is certainly richly deserved.
Oh, absolutely. Steve is a unique kid. He walked into the first mite practice being a shy, humble, knock-kneed, not too graceful kid, but a great athlete. And, he left pro hockey as humble as he started. I mean, he's just a wonderful kid he's a real winner. I mean, he's the kind of kid that will find a way to help the team.
Yeah, absolutely so. Well, Jack Turco, Melrose, Massachusetts native, great hometown. Jack, great to have you with us today.
Yeah, good to be here, and thank you.
Taylor Chase with us from USA Paralympic Hockey, and welcome. Great to have you with us. Where are you from?
I'm from Hampton Falls, New Hampshire, so not far.
Not far at all. And tell us about your involvement with the Paralympic team.
Well, I've been a member of the U.S. team for about 10 years, since I was 18 years old. So I've been to 3 Paralympic Games and won a few medals with the team, and it's been a good experience.
Well, we talked with Rick Middleton, who coached that USA team back a number of years ago, and astonishingly won a gold medal. Surprised everybody back then in Colorado, or in Utah, I should say.
Yeah, he's definitely he's a pioneer for the sport, and just a great guy, a great person to have around that team at the time, and really took them from what people thought were underdogs to world champions. So he changed that whole program around, and he's one of the reasons why I got into the sport in the first place. So,
yeah, how did you get involved?
I had a spinal cord injury playing ice hockey when I was 16 years old. Didn't think that hockey would really be in my future anymore as far as competing, and then found the sport through connections with Tom Moulton, Rick Middleton, and a program called Northeast Passage at the University of New Hampshire.
Oh, tell us about that, Northeast Passage.
Yeah, it's an adapted sport and recreation program for people with all types of physical disabilities, and they actually house the most adaptive equipment in their facility, over 200 different pieces, enabling over 100 different types of physical disabilities to become active again. And they're right in the University of New Hampshire, and not a lot of people know about it just because they're underexposed. But part of my mission for the past 10 years has been to help the exposure of that program because of how much they've done for me. So.
Outstanding, and you played hockey for a long time, I'm sure. And how long did it take you to adapt from hockey, as most of us know it, to the sled hockey game?
Long time. I would say that there's always things that you can get better at, as such in anything in life. But as far as a sport that you'd never played before, it was extremely hard. I had to practice every day for hours, and finally, I think my third Paralympic Games, I felt comfortable after about 10 years of being in the sled. So it's one of those things. If you put your mind to it and you allow your body to acquire skills, you can really do anything you want.
And you're still playing.
I'm still playing. I coach more now, but we'll see as far as competing in the future goes. I don't know what really what the future has in store for me specifically. I haven't decided on that yet. The body's taken a toll, even after a spinal cord injury. It's a full contact sport, so you got to put that into perspective and realize that you have what you still have left for the rest of your life. So.
Taylor, great to have you with us today and telling us a little bit about Paralympics, the team that you play for, and a little background, and we appreciate it very much.
Yeah, thank you for doing this.
Taylor Chase, thanks. Well, today we're honoring the great Hanover Marauder High School program, which has been a legendary one for many years under Dick Dodds, John Dodds. It's all in the family it's been all in the family for a long time.
Yeah, it has been, and it's been a real important part of our lives ever since we were young kids, and the traditions and whatnot that Hanover hockey has built over the years are real important to us. So we're privileged and proud to be here, and it's a great honor for the whole town.
Well, it really is, and John, I know you echo those sentiments.
I certainly do. We both grew up in Hanover playing hockey. Our parents were involved in helping things get started and creating the interest in us, and it's not only our programs now, but it's the whole community. It takes a whole community to make a program work and be successful and maintain that tradition, and I think it's something the whole community can be awful proud of.
And they really are. I mean, the whole community is behind this team, has been for many years without question. But you alluded to the parents, and it probably the hockey programs anywhere wouldn't be the same without those hockey parents.
And it's so true in Hanover. It's over the years I'm just impressed with what the parents bring to the table. They're great leaders. It's a terrific community to coach and to work for the Hanover High School, and a lot of that is because of the parents and their involvement. They're all positive, and they've got great attitudes, and they raise great kids.
Yeah, it does take a lot of dedication on their part, without doubt. What makes it so special in Hanover? Because I know it is, and the city as always, or the town has embraced the Marauder program for so many years. What makes it so special there?
I think it's just a matter of it started early with Dartmouth College and Seaver Peters, who was one of the people that was honored here a few years ago, was instrumental in starting the youth hockey program. But we all used to go to Dartmouth games, and we kind of got our passion there. I think Bobby Orr came along a few years later and had a little something to do with the hockey interest. But the community just kind of took a hold of things, and hockey's it's almost part of the culture in Hanover.
Yeah, without question. Between Dartmouth and the Hanover Marauders, no question about it. The girls program has been great as well.
Yeah, it has been, and I think the kids are the youth hockey program in Hanover is just one of the best in the country, I think, and at developing kids and bringing them in and showing them how great the sport is, and showing them the passion of the great game of ice hockey. So I've got to give a lot of credit to the Hanover Youth Hockey Association and the coaches and the staff.
32 years. Did you think it would be 32 when you started?
I did not think it would be 32, but it's been 32 great years, and again, if it hadn't been for the community and the support you get from the parents and the school, it would not have been 32. They've just made it. It's so easy and so much fun to get up at 5 a.m. every morning and go to practice. It's just a thing of beauty.
And I bet those years have pretty much flown by.
They certainly have, and of course, I haven't been involved at the high school level as long as Brother Dick, but I've been coaching in the youth hockey system right up through, and been involved with the girls for about 12 years now, I think. So it's been fun and a great experience, and hopefully I've got a few more years left in me.
Absolutely. And I'm sure you do as well, Dick.
I hope so, yes.
Dick and John Dodds, just an honor to have you with us today, and just absolutely a magnificent program in Hanover. It has been for so many years, and continued success.
Thank you, Ken. Appreciate
Thank you. Really appreciate it.
Roger Letourneau from Berlin, New Hampshire. Pierre Belanger just introduced us, and give us a little bit of your background, Roger.
I was born in Quaticook, Quebec, and I was there for 15 years. Then I came to Berlin to play hockey and baseball, and I went to school there. And afterward, I stayed in Concord. I played hockey for the Eastern Concord Olympic, and then after a while, I moved back home.
So you're back near Sherbrooke, huh?
Sherbrooke, yeah.
Great town, great hockey city.
Very, very, yeah.
Talk about your days in Concord with the Eastern Olympics and the Budman.
I was there for a few years. I had two good years with them. I met a lot of good people and loved it a lot.
Yeah. What did you play?
Right wing. Yeah.
Sniper?
Sometime, yeah.
Sometimes, huh?
Yeah.
Pierre's shaking his head. Yeah, you must have been.
Yeah.
Pierre doesn't hand out the compliments
No.
To too many people, but nonetheless. So, what led you back to Sherbrooke?
Well, I was working for Bell, and they had a layoff, and I was in the layoff, so I moved back home at Bell. I work as a lineman at Bell for 33 years, so
now you're back in the old hometown.
Yes.
And enjoying it?
Yes. So far, yes.
So far, so good. How long have you been back in Sherbrooke?
Oh, I've been back to Sherbrooke since 1983.
Oh, so quite a while. Yeah. What are some of your great memories about playing in Concord with the Eastern Olympics and the Budman? Who were some of your teammates that you recall?
Oh, there was Bruce Parker. There was Dick Pinch, Camille Casey. A lot of those guys that were great. That we had a good time too.
Great memories.
Yes.
Roger